Good morning, everyone. I know most of you are probably on your way to work or dropping your kids off at school or getting ready for work. So I'm trying to get these things in whenever I can. So still not trying to find the right time for everybody. So just be patient with me. I'm working on it. And then you'll be able to read this. You'll be able to listen to this throughout the day because I keep it live. Actually, I post it. So you can watch it throughout the day if you want. And then also you can go to my YouTube channel and watch these if you'd like also. It's Healing the Man Within. It's a YouTube channel that I've got. So we've been talking about the solution. I talk about everybody talks about the problem. Nobody's talking about the solution. So I figured, well, I guess I had better talk about the solution, be part of the solution rather than just talking about what people aren't doing. So we talked about first part about, yes, you can recover. This is something we can recover from. We talked about what other people can do to help us. And so today I'm going to talk about what we can do for ourselves as survivors to help ourselves. And it's a tough one. It can be tough, I guess I should say. Because what the ultimate thing that we need to do is, like I said, I think in the first one, or maybe the last one, I think it was the first one, ultimately we need to surrender. We need to be ready to surrender that we can't live this way by ourselves anymore. We can't keep on carrying the secret around with us. We need to get help for it. And for men especially, that help can seem like we're weak. I reach out for help. I'm weak, less than a man, so on and so forth. And none of that's true. That's the perception, and I understand it. So step 3 is we have to reach out for help. And what does that look like? And who are those people that we'll reach out to? Well, if you have a trusted friend, as we talked about last week, a trusted friend that will sit and listen to you without judgment. And sometimes that's all we need to do is we need to talk about how we're feeling, about these thoughts that these repetitive thoughts that are in our head constantly about we're no good and the damage has been done to us. I'll never get over it. I'll never forgive. We need to find somebody, if it's a personal confidant, that will sit down and listen to us without judgment. That's very important. That can just be there for you. And at the end of that conversation, ask what they can do for you. Okay? But more importantly, that confidant at the end of the conversation might ask the question is, what can I do to help you get the help that you need? I can't help you as a person because I don't know what you're going through. I'll be here to support you through whatever you're going through. And I'll be here to support you through the help that you get. But I personally, the only help I can be of you would be to listen to you and be empathetic to you and understand you and love you through the processes of another human being. That in itself is a tremendous amount of help. But that in itself is not going to heal the person because the scars are deeper than you could ever imagine. The damage is incomprehensible to those that have not, that have not experienced abuse. The damage is incomprehensible. People just do not understand it and do not understand why we are the way we are. So that would maybe be the first step. But more importantly, to seek out a therapist. And I'm going to use caution when I talk about this because I don't want to offend any therapist, but there are plenty of therapists out there that do more damage than good. And that's just a fact of the matter, especially when it comes to abuse. There's not a lot of therapists that understand it, that have gone through it, and gone through the healing process. Therefore, they can understand it. They might understand it academically. They might have forms of treatment that they've read work, but every individual requires a different form of treatment because while the abuse is abuse, period, how it affects each individual is different. and what works for me might not work for you as far as recovery comes to it. So you want to do your research when it comes to a therapist. Find out how many people they've helped, and if you're a man, specifically men, how many men they've helped with these sexual abuse issues, and what that success rate is with those men as far as recovery. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work for us victims. As far when it comes to recovery, we've got to do a lot of homework. We've got to do a lot of writing. We've got to do a lot of soul searching. It's not necessarily reliving our past, because the thing of it is that, hey, Kevin, what's up? The thing of it is we're living in our past. That's why we're stuck where we're at. So it's not reliving the past. It's finding ways to walk us out of that past. And therefore, there's a lot of journaling, a lot of soul searching that goes on, a lot of really hard, real hard work in soul searching. You got to invest. You got to look at a lot of different things, and some of them are very uncomfortable to look at. Some of them have to do with the perpetrator. But the bottom line is, if you're willing to do the work, you'll be good. You'll have a better life. I just recently have talked to my therapist, and because I see a lot of people that have been in therapy for a long time that are so broken. And they're still broken, and they just can't seem to get past some of the scars that they got. And I asked my therapist, like, well, why me? Why am I so free now? Why have I healed so much? Why am I so free? And she said, Randy, simply because you have chosen to do the deep, hard work that needs to be done to fully heal and restore yourself back to sanity. And you continue to do that work as needed. And that's the bottom line. It's a lifetime. There's no magic pill. There's no one-shot recovery thing for this. It's a lifetime of work. We've been scarred, and those scars are deep. And there's triggers in us that we don't even know we have. And we've got to learn how to recognize those triggers when they come up. And a good therapist will walk you through that. We've got to develop tools to deal with those triggers as they come up. And again, a good therapist will do that. Or there's life coaches out there as well that can walk you through this. And a good life coach will also know when it's time to send you to get a higher level of care. And I happen to be one of those life coaches. I just thought I'd say. But it's only because I've walked through it. I've got the academics behind me. And I also know when I need to send somebody to get a little bit higher level of care. And that's where therapists sometimes will fall because they don't want to sacrifice their looking good. And I say this with a lot of respect to therapists. So if any therapist listens to this, you want to get pissed off, it's quite all right, I understand, but there's no disrespect to you. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, so find a confidant that you can talk to in confidence, that won't judge you, that will be empathetic with you, that will just listen to you, not try to fix you, not tell you what to do. Anybody that tells you need to forgive, forget, and move on, you need to run from. I'm just saying, those are death words for us survivors. While we need to forgive and we need to move on, that's a process that only you know how long it will take. It could take a year, it could take 6 years, it could take 6 months. I don't know. Depends on the depth of damage that's been done. You'll never forget. You'll never forget. And I know people out there say, "Well, you got to forget. If you haven't forgot, you haven't forgiven." Those are all falsehoods. You'll never forget. How can you forget something so traumatic to you? But you can move on. You can have a much better life. I'm going to also say one more thing, and again, with a lot of respect. Do not reach out to clergy. Most of them are ill-prepared to help you with abuse issues. They don't understand the damage of it. They don't understand the depth of the damage of it. And again, they can do more harm than good because they don't get to the underlying issues. Again, we don't take people back in their past. You're living in your past. That's why you're having such a struggle. So we help you, a good therapist, a good life coach, a really good mentor. We will walk you out, and we will walk with you out of that past. That's our job, to help you have a better life. Okay? So what does reaching out look like? Like I said at the beginning, first you need to surrender. You need to be a place of complete surrender. If you're not at that point yet, if you're not at a point of desperation, if you're not at a point to surrender, you're not at a point where you're willing to do whatever you need to do, then you can reach out, but it's not going to do no good if you're paying a therapist or a life coach to help you heal these wounds, but you're not willing to do the work. Okay? It takes time. It takes a lot of time. You got to be willing to do the work. You got to be willing to say, today's enough. I don't want to talk about this no more. Can we move on to something else and we'll come back to it? You got to be able to protect yourself through this entire journey. My therapist was excellent that way. We'd be in a session and things would come up, and I said, you know what? This is really hurting me today. Can we move on and maybe talk about something else? And she always honored that. But in her honoring that, I always went back to that subject at a later date. Okay, because it's not going to go away. None of this is going to go away. We just keep sweeping underneath the rug and keep ignoring it. It's not going to go away. We have to face it head on. Okay, we don't want you to relive the trauma. That's the last thing that I want you to do. But we have to walk through a lot of the pain that we've been suffering for many, many, many years. Okay, so whether it's with a confidant, whether it's with a therapist, just find somebody you can trust. Do your research. Talk to people. Okay, ask people about the therapist. Ask people about a life coach. Don't be afraid to do your research. It's your life that you're trying to save. And the last thing you need is somebody that's going to be non-empathetic, that's going to cause you more pain than you're already in. Okay, there might be. I was told when I got into this journey in the therapy, Randy, it's going to get worse before it gets better, and that's true. We can't avoid that because we do look at some of the things we pushed underneath the rug for many, many years. So that's just part of the journey. Don't be afraid of it. Okay. So step 3 is reach out for help. You can find help. And look at everybody's, again, I'm going to keep going on this. And if there's some other thoughts I had on it, but people are, they're after the perpetrators. The perpetrators got to pay for their crime. Hey, I agree. And there's some advocates out there that are working that way. 1 of 3, or 1 of 6, the organization 1 of 6, I think it's Jean-Pierre, I think is his name. He's advocating for us. There's certain people that are out there advocating for us. But even if we get the advocation that we need, and even if we get a perpetrator thrown in jail, and God forbid that anybody actually kills the perpetrator that they wanted to kill, that doesn't heal the wound inside of us. It might feel like it's gonna. Your head might be telling, yeah, well, if he goes to jail, then I'll be okay. And then one night you're sitting all alone, and all these feelings come back. The reality is that we need the advocates. I agree 100% that all perpetrators need to spend time in jail. I've heard some perpetrators say, you can't rehab us. We should never be allowed to be back out. Okay, I've heard that several different times. But the reality is that we need to heal our inner soul. And no amount of putting a perpetrator in jail or killing a perpetrator is going to do that. We have to do the hard work to heal ourselves. We have to. We have to learn the tools. We have to learn new language that we can tell ourselves when we're by ourselves and all those negative thoughts come up in our mind. Okay? So seek out, reach out for help. Find a confidant that you can trust, that will sit there with you, will be there with you, will love you, non-judgment, and find a good therapist to help you through this entire process. For myself, 7 years, twice a week I was in therapy, plus on my AA work, and I continue to work on my abuse issues as they come up, sometimes on a daily basis, sometimes not, okay? Well, it's a lifetime. It's not a one-time fix. It's not a pill that you can take that can resolve all your issues. That won't happen. Think about it this way. How long have you been living in pain? How long have you been living telling yourself the lies that somebody else told you or believing the lies that somebody else told you? How long have you been living that way? It's going to take that long, if not longer, to recover. Okay? So look at, nobody tells you they love you today. Randy loves you. More importantly, God loves you. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for being part of this journey. Be blessed, everybody. Have a great week. Goodbye.